I took a good, long, honest look at the Galaxy Gear S before I prepare to purchase another Apple Watch as a gift for someone. The Galaxy Gear S is different from the Apple Watch in that the Galaxy Gear S has its own SIM card, which means that it has its own data services, wherein the Apple Watch, like many other smartwatches, absolutely requires your iPhone to be attached in order for it to do just about anything. Now, that's not entirely true. The Apple Watch, which I'm going to talk about later in a different part of this review, but the Apple Watch, similar to the Samsung Watch, requires the phone in order to install apps, in order to remove apps, and you still have to have a Samsung phone paired with it, specifically a Galaxy Note or Galaxy Gear. So instead of me being a shill and just saying that the Apple Watch is better just because, let me first talk about some of the good things about the Galaxy Gear S. First of all, again, it has its own data services. That means that if you have the SIM card, and T-Mobile has already told me that it would be $10 a month to add service to the watch by itself, not including your phone, but they said it would be an extra $10 a month to add service to just the watch. If you have this watch with its SIM card, that means you have the ability to make phone calls directly from your wrist without the phone. And you also have access to, local data like weather, GPS information, etc., etc. You have basic information on 3G, not LTE, not 4G, but you have basic 3G data services. Now, this is what I was told by T-Mobile. Depending upon where you live, you may have some kind of different offer. But from what I heard from T-Mobile directly, this is what it is. So, other things about it. It's a good-looking watch. It's made pretty well. It has a camera built into it, strap. It also has a video camcorder function. Now, the hard part about using that is positioning your wrist in a way where you can actually videotape or you can take pictures of something. But for the most part, it's an extra camera on your body if you don't have your phone on you. And the thing about it is this is such a small camera that it can be on, it can be running, it can be recording, even if you're not holding anything physically in your hands. So let's say if you're one of these people who sees a fight break out, or let's say if you're in a cop pulls you over situation and you want to record what's going on, all you have to do is tap a couple of buttons on your wrist, and right there your watch is recording everything that the cop is saying to you. And if you're able to position your arm in a way where you can actually get video of the cop without him shooting you first, you can also do it that way. But I had noticed a couple of things about this watch. Now, it has a lot of abilities. Like it takes these 240 by 240 resolution pictures. So, basic pictures come out decently. If you have a memory chip installed, you can take the video directly to the memory chip. If you don't, it can go directly to the camera's internal memory. But one of the things that I noticed about this watch, and I'm guessing it's the reason why the Apple Watch was actually rated higher, is because this watch feels like a miniaturized device on your wrist rather than actually feeling like a watch. Now, it has decent battery life. If a full charge will get you through 2 days if you're not constantly using it. But for the most part, it really feels like one of those cheaply made Chinese devices that you see. You know how you see those MP4 players? The operating system on this doesn't feel exactly like the operating system that Android users are gonna, be used to. Like, for instance, I just did some crappy reviews on the LG Stylo and the LG Leon, and what I noticed was I had a little bit of trouble moving from pane to pane, because the problem is you never know exactly where you're supposed to push and where you're not supposed to push. Touching the middle is the safest bet. You touch the middle, you slide your finger left and right, and as you can see, you can get to more of the features on the device. Like there's the pedometer, which takes basic information, Bluetooth music playing, you can hear through the speaker, or you can control your phone and you can get from track to track. But as you notice, when I'm pushing on the thing, sometimes the response isn't exactly what I expect it to be. So again, there's an audio player, there's an FM radio when you plug in your headphones. I believe it needs that for the antenna. So you have an FM radio access no matter where you are. And the basic functions for tracking your health are very, very basic. Like, for instance, this is as good as a regular pedometer. Apple took it to the next step, and they made it so that their Apple Watch tracks, everything from standing, how long do you sit down, etc., etc. This watch is a lot more basic than that, and it looks like what they went for was they basically wanted to make a phone for your wrist. It seems to me that they didn't focus on health, but they wanted to make a phone for your wrist. They wanted to make a cool device, which was a phone for your wrist. So this device does a lot. Like, it has Bluetooth access, it has Wi-Fi access, but the problem that I really had was it just didn't feel as polished as the Apple Watch did. And when I look online, I mean, it's easy for you to go spec by spec and say, oh yeah, well, this watch has a camera, the Apple Watch doesn't. The simple fact is, if that's how you shop based on specs, then that's how you shop. My thing is, the Apple Watch does what it does its own way.
I've had it for, I guess, over a month at this point. And to tell you the God's honest truth, after using the Samsung watch, I wish the Apple Watch did have features like the ability to simply call without having a phone. But of course, if it had that, that would mean that you'd have to have a SIM card, and you'd also have to have another data service, So the problem is, having a SIM card, having to pay an extra $10 a month. A lot of people are already stuck in a $120 a month data plan for 10 gigabytes. Now, I'm fortunate because my AT&T iPhone 6 Plus, I'm grandfathered in to the unlimited data plan. So I can use this phone as much as I want, upload, download as much as I want, and I can go to 20 gigabytes in a month if I want to, and they can't charge me anymore for it. But a lot of people are getting screwed by AT&T and by Verizon, and, well, not really by T-Mobile, but AT&T and Verizon are screwing a lot of people by overcharging on data services, specifically because of how much information these smartphones like Galaxy Note and iPhones push and pull. Now, as far as my Apple Watch goes, yeah, being able to make phone calls from the watch without having a phone, that would be a nice feature. Obviously, it's going to cost you a lot more. Most people are really buying these devices as toys. To tell you the God's honest truth, I really can't say that the Apple Watch is better than the Galaxy Gear S, but what I can say is that it feels like it's made better than the Galaxy Gear S. I'm not going to say it's better because, yeah, the Galaxy Gear S does have more features, but the Apple Watch is made far superior to the Galaxy Gear. The Galaxy Gear S feels like one of those cheap Chinese-made MP4 players. And I know a lot of people are going to write me negative comments. Oh, yeah, you're stupid, blah, blah, blah. Listen, you can write me all the comments you want because as far as I'm concerned, I'm voicing an opinion, and this video is going to make money whether you like what I have to say or not. I really don't care about that. But all I'm saying is that this watch is made better. It feels a lot better. Do I have problems with this watch? Oh, yeah, I do have some problems with this watch. First of all, I was complaining that this bottom button, which takes you to the favorites, I feel that should have been on the top. I think that this bottom button should have been a home button. I don't think that this bottom button right here, I don't think this one should have been a favorite button. I think this should have been like a sleep wake home button. That's what I really feel. The watch turns itself off. From the moment you get one of these Apple Watches, you pretty much have to make it so that it won't automatically turn itself on when you lift your wrist up. Because if you don't, the battery's going to die before the day is out. One thing I did notice while I was trying to use the activity features, like this is the activity feature right here. One thing I noticed, oh, that's the Walmart app, my fault. One thing I noticed is if you try to time yourself and use the activity features, yeah, it's the little man running, a workout. If you try to use that, the device starts to use so much data and it starts to use so many of its internal services that the battery drains very, very quickly. Now, I had this on charge since this morning and I was out all day. So if I go back to the home screen by double tapping the top button twice, you can go right back to the home screen. And, you know, this user interface needs to be cleaned up. It's not extremely intuitive. But you can see that I have 77% battery power remaining. Now, as you probably already know from looking this up online, it has a power reserve feature. When you put it into power reserve, the only thing you see is the time. And that's it. When the time goes off, if you push any of the buttons, the time comes back on, and that's it. That's all you see. Now, if you want to get it out of that mode, I've never actually taken it out of that mode, but I think you maybe hold one of these buttons or something like that. And if you hold one of the buttons, like, you can bring it out of power reserve mode, I think. I'm not even really sure. It's probably this bottom button. So that's what I'm saying. This user interface doesn't lend itself very well to... I just restarted it. The user interface doesn't really let you know right away what you can and can't do, and that's why Apple had to actually give you a demo video on their website to show you ways of how to use this watch. So bottom line is this: the Galaxy Gear S watch has a lot more features as far as a camera and its own ability to call out. But when it comes to build quality, the Apple Watch is made better. If it comes down to exercise and activity tracking, the Apple Watch is better. But if you're buying a device specifically for the features, the Galaxy Gear Watch, the Galaxy Gear S anyway, is better. Because you got to remember, the Galaxy Gear 1 and the Galaxy Gear 2 did not have the ability to have their own SIM card and call out by themselves. So, feature-wise, this watch doesn't have as much, but when it comes to build quality and when it comes to how the apps actually function, if you're buying this to track your activity, the Apple Watch really does come up the winner. People who've seen this watch on my wrist always ask me right away, is that the Apple Watch? Now, I don't think anybody with a Moto 360 watch or a Galaxy Gear has really had anybody come up and ask specifically about who makes their watch. Because, see, the Apple Watch is designed in a way where people pretty much know exactly what it is when they see it, because nothing else looks like their product. And, you know, that's good for them that they designed it that way, because... I have to say, this is really a well-designed device that does a lot of things that you'd never need it to do, especially if you're bothering to track your health and whatnot. Now, I like the fact that the watch pings you and it gives you a silent notification. It tells you, oh yeah, well, you've been sitting a little too long, you need to get up and walk around. I like the fact that the watch tries to get you to reach goals. Like, for instance, if you are near ending, if you're near finishing a certain goal, like here I'm near finishing exercise, I'm far away from my stand goal. But if you're near finishing a goal, the watch will ping you and it'll say, hey, guess what? You're not that far away from your stand goal, so why don't you stand up for a couple minutes? Or it'll say, hey, guess what? All you got to do is exercise for 20 or 5 minutes and you can beat this 30-minute goal. This watch is really a toy, but it's designed for people who are health conscious, you know, and it does have good workout features. My only problem is the watch needs a bigger battery. This watch is the largest version. I think that's the 42 millimeter, and then there's the 38. The 38 is much too small. The 42, especially for a guy with big hands or big wrists, for a man in general, the 42 is too small, especially considering, you know, your thumb tries to touch something specific and your thumb may touch something else that you didn't want to touch. But in my opinion, they should have made this watch 50 millimeters in size rather than 42. I don't think they'd have gotten any complaints, because by making it bigger, they would have been able to squeeze in a bigger battery, and more of the functions would work a little bit better. In fact, they'd probably be able to put in more functions if they had done it that way. But that's not what they did. So here, as you can see, this is the weather app. You can see the weather in cities I've been to: Shanghai, Tokyo, etc., etc. So, Henryville, Pennsylvania. So basically, all I'm going to say is this. If you're one of these people who despises Apple for whatever reason, you're not going to buy an Apple Watch anyway, because most likely you're going to have a Galaxy phone. You're not going to be able to use the Apple Watch. If you have an iPhone, you're not going to be able to buy the Galaxy Gear S watch. You're going to end up having to buy an Apple Watch or one of those other watches like the Moto 360 or anything that will allow you to work with an iPhone. But all I'm going to say is this. The Galaxy Gear, I'm going to say just one more time, just so anybody who wants to criticize me, the Galaxy Gear S watch has more features, but the Apple Watch is made better, and it's better for people who want to track their fitness. And as far as that Galaxy Gear Watch, the only thing I can really say that's bad about it is you still have to have a Samsung phone, and the app library is weaker than the App Store's app library for the phone. And that's about it. Look, I even got the Bible here. Look at that. I'm pretty sure you could probably get that on the Galaxy Gear Watch. But the whole point of buying a smartwatch at this point seems to me that it's just to have a toy. I really don't see any point in any of these smartwatches, and even before any of these things came out, I said the exact same thing. None of this stuff actually makes any sense. I'd rather talk into my phone. I'd rather use the screen on my phone to answer notifications. You can't answer, like, for instance, Facebook Messenger. You can see the message pop up on this device, but you can't do anything about it. You have, like, if you go on Twitter, you can't type anything on this. You really have to use your phone for everything anyway. So as far as I'm concerned, there's just really no point in smartwatches. It's just that if I'm going to spend money, you know, I want to get the best that I could possibly get. And I guess you could go either way, either the Galaxy Gear S or the Apple Watch. Either one, you know, they're pretty cool, but once again, these things are very expensive toys.